Joehoul here with the Scavenging Locations Guide for the Fuel Vein Zone in Jeet's territory. This will have all the scrap and all the optional objectives that you can possibly find in this area. This first one is all in an old hollowed out boat. You'll find the first project part over by a barrel fire, and that's for water storage. Then you'll have to go, not this way as I found, but over to the, like the captain's area. What's that called? The helm. And you'll find your first piece of scrap on the first floor of that. And if you go on up to the second floor, you'll find your second piece of scrap. And if you go up to the third floor, you won't find nothing except a bit of ammo. The fourth piece of scrap, or sorry, was it third? That was fourth. Fourth piece of scrap is actually hiding, third piece of scrap, sorry, is hiding in the nose of the ship, back the way I came over here. And there it is. Final piece of scrap. Right at the bow. Our next scavenging location is at the northernmost point of fuel veins. It's right up against the cliffs. You'll find this little hut with a bunch of guys hanging out front. If you head up the ladder inside, you'll come to a little balcony where you'll find your first piece of scrap and your only piece of scrap. Now to get a little fist fight, and you can jump down into their sweet, sweet meat pit, and you'll find yourself a history relic. Oh, scuba diving. Remember water? This next scavenging location is just south of where we were. It's this little pipeline shanty town. Upon entering it, you'll find your first piece of scrap right on your left. If you climb up the ladder attached to the shipping container, it'll bring you to a history relic. Ronnie and June, looking for Alan or Dina. Don't want both of them, they just want Alan or Dina. If they find Alan, Dina can go fuck herself. Little bit of a fist fight, some people followed me here. If you go right around that corner inside the shipping container down the ground, you'll find your second piece of scrap. I believe the final thing here is the car body, which I find right there. You know, I just realized I haven't been hearing any of my shotgun shots or those flare gun shots. It's because I'm that audio is coming out of my controller. I was wondering why it wasn't showing up in the video. When you get to this next location, you'll find your first piece of scrap after climbing up into the main area. I cut the fight out there right after I picked it up. After you've beaten everybody up, you can go on a little search tour. I forget where this next piece is, but I think it's up top somewhere. There it is, scrap number 2. And that's that. This next scavenging location is to the east of this area, the fuel veins. And it's a very vertical tower. You'll climb 2 ladders. When you get up there, you'll take a right and find your first piece of scrap just right over here, near a water collector. And just keep heading up. Across this bridge. Get myself a ladder down just in case I fall. I do it a lot. Once you're up here near the top, you'll find your next piece of scrap. And then just keep on hustling upwards. And the history relic is at the very tippy top. bunch of sweet, sweet Russian guns. Kalishnikov. Our next one is at one of the southernmost areas of the fuel veins. You just want to pry open this shipping container buried in the sand, and it'll lead you right down to a cave. Once you're down here, you'll find a piece of scrap in the first little room. In the next room on your right, you'll find a locker that you can pry open with your crowbar, and your second piece of scrap is in there. And then just keep following the hallway to the left, climb up the ladder, and you'll find your third piece of scrap along with an exit. Your next piece of scrap is right in the center, or next scavenging location is right in the center of the fuel veins. It's just inside this guy's bedroom. I believe that's, yeah, one scrap, one kill. The next place I went is, I believe, to the... Oh wait, no, I didn't go to the outpost yet. This one's just north of where we were. Find this old boat, you can climb right up in it. Thank you for making it yeller. I love that anything you interact with is yellow. You'll find your first piece of scrap just down that hallway there on your right. And if you just follow the loop around, head down here, you'll find your project part. That project part is for the maggot farm. That was my last piece. And then in the room right next to it, you'll find your last piece of scrap. I don't know if this one counts as a scavenging location, but this is the Vantage Outpost. There are two pieces of scrap at this one. First one is right down here on the first floor once you've come up the pipe. And the second one is just up the ladder above there. Your next one is just to the southwest of the Vantage Outpost. Once you've climbed up on top where the upside down boat is, you can drop into the boat that's attached to and find your first piece of scrap. And I believe all the rest of it is in the upside down boat, which you have to access from the ground. So you'll see me loop around here, and there's a ladder right underneath. You can climb up into this boat, and inside this boat there's another piece of scrap and a project part. That project part's for the cleanup crew, my final piece for that as well. And there's the third piece of scrap. And that's the end of that zone. The next scavenging location is to the west. This one's a pretty big location, so I had to do quite a bit of searching. So you just want to go upstairs, follow the ladders. It's pretty linear once you're in here. I'll come back. I missed some back there, but I'll show them to you before we leave. After you come through this room and fight the people, you'll find some scrap in the little room to your right. If you just keep following through that room, you can go in behind here and find a history relic in the next building. Pictures of someone's granddad. He disappeared on a job in one of those Arabic countries. Nothing in this little throne room. But then right behind here, you'll find another piece of scrap. That's the second piece. And if you just dip into this little room here with the bathtub full of bodies, you'll find a hood ornament. Now I'm backtracking towards the beginning. So this is a ladder we would have passed when we first came in. You can climb this ladder, and it'll lead you to your next piece of scrap. Now the fourth one is at the very top of the lighthouse. I believe that's what it is, a lighthouse, I'm pretty sure. So you're going to go back to where you fought the big group of guys, and then go up those stairs right in the middle. And just keep following this winding path up the outside. And if you go down the stairs once you're inside, you'll find your fourth piece of scrap. And then I just kept on right to the top. I don't think there was anything up there. Just some dog food. But then if you go around the outside and zip line down, it'll get you pretty close to where you want to be. You could have picked this one up earlier. I just missed it the first few times around. But if you go right out here and jump down, you'll find the fifth piece of scrap sitting down on a balcony there. That's the end of that scavenging location. This next one is just to the southeast of the previous one. And it's inside this old ship, which is mostly buried. You can jump on down and find a piece of scrap just to your right in another room. If you keep following through that room, you'll end up getting in a little scrap. I just edited out all the fighting I had to do down here, so you didn't have to watch it. If you head in the next room and pry open that door, it'll let you get at your second piece of scrap and your project part. That guy's for the scrap crew. That's that. All three things that we found at this area. Now we're at our final scavenging location. It's in the southwest end of the fuel veins. And it's one piece of scrap located in the inside of an old smashed up boat. One scrap, one kill. And that's the collectibles guide for the fuel veins in Jeet's territory. Thanks for watching. Tell them to subscribe! Point somewhere for them to click, Birdie! Oh my god, click there!